There's loads of good stuff on Netflix this month as well. It's going to be a good month.
If you want to sit in front of a screen.
Yeah.
Well,
with this weather, why not?
that's how we get by, isn't it?
No.
We spend several hours of our week talking about stuff that we've done in front of a screen.
That's right, this is a podcast.
Hello. Welcome to a podcast.
I've only just noticed you've got the world's tiniest radiator in it.
I have, haven't I?
Oh, wow.
In the
Dungeon.
Yeah, that's the one. I was going to say cellar, but...
Chris has got a radiator under his window in his little dungeon. It's probably 20 inches square.
Well, you don't want the people in the dungeon to get too nice and warm, do you?
Are you a plumber? If you are, write in and
Is
let
it
us
big
know.
enough that you could handcuff
it the
Terry Waite
smallest?
to it for 20 years?
Nice. Yeah, if you're a plumber, is a 20-inch square radiator the smallest size that you can get? I'm willing to bet that it's not.
Do the towel rack ones that are just up?
Oh yeah, just a
bar.
towel rail. That probably counts,
Yeah.
doesn't it?
Because
Heated towel rail.
that's not... I suppose
Look,
it's bigger in space.
This is
but-
not what we do on the
No.
podcast.
No.
Hello, welcome to Radiators Are Us, episode 1.
Welcome to Plumcast.
How big is your radiator?
And we've already gone out of business.
Fun fact, do we know why plumbers are called plumbers?
No.
Because of plumbum, lead.
Oh.
Yes.
Random
All
facts.
pipes used to be made from lead being plumbum, and you are a plumber if you work with lead pipes. There you go. Boom. Fact of the week.
Right, we should start a
Whee.
podcast, really.
Hello and welcome to Plumbers Are Us.
No,
This
we're
week
done with
we
that.
are talking
Stop.
about radiators.
We're not. We
dear.
promise.
I should have done a different version of the theme tune with like dank drips and stuff in the background.
Our special guests
Echoey.
today are Mario and Luigi.
Anyway, yes, welcome to Review with the Crew. We've just got back from the cinema watching
Yeah.
Ready Player One.
3 of us.
Three of
Full
us.
spoiler cast.
First half,
Eventually.
I think. Yeah, first half, no. And
Don't
then we'll
panic.
give a warning.
Don't panic at home. We'll pre-warn you. We'll stick the snooze button alarm in. That's what we'll do
Yeah.
before we start on the old spoilers. Do we need to explain to the people at home what the story is at all? Is it worth just briefly
in
going
its
over that?
basic form, yeah, go on.
Okay, so Ready Player One, it's a book written by Ernest Cline. It's set in 2045, I think, if I remember
about
rightly.
that, yeah.
And it's basically a dystopian future where everything's gone to shit. There's been...
Not massively to shit, though.
Well,
just a lot more poorness.
People that live in squalid areas live
Yeah.
in, what are they called? The
Stacks.
stacks.
Yeah.
That's one, like motorhomes all stacked on top of each other and stuff. And obviously quite dense population. And in order to escape, people go into a computer-generated world created by a guy called Mr. Halliday. What's his first name? Bill?
James.
James. Just got out of the cinema.
Jesus.
Oh dear. And so the Oasis is like a wonderland where people can just do whatever they want. And inside the Oasis, there's all sorts of games and places that have been created by different people over the years. And you can just go and lose yourself in there, and everybody lives their fantasy lives in the Oasis.
It's almost like a pop culture blast as well. Like everything is connected
Because
to something.
People can
you
look like
be-
what they
yeah,
want or
yeah.
use whatever vehicles they want. So yeah,
People go to school in there, people work in there,
Yeah.
and then they spend their free time in there.
and the creator, Halliday, has died. Good old Bill has just died and left behind his fortune. And whoever finds a specific thing within the Oasis will win his inheritance.
It's Charlie and the Chocolate
Yeah.
Factory turned up to 11, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah, basically.
yeah,
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, but with technology.
this is true.
Pretty much that exact story to a certain degree.
But more chance of death.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm pretty pumped. I quite enjoyed that film, but I want to hear what you guys have to say about it. Really,
Go on, Ross, you can start.
go on.
I quite enjoyed it. I also realised that I'm probably not the best person to talk immediately after coming out of a cinema.
Why is that?
I have a tendency to mull a film over and not really form an opinion on it until like the next day.
Oh God.
Because we were downstairs and Gilly was like, "Did you like it?" And I was like, like I'm still processing it.
Yeah, I think everyone processes it and can change their opinion between the minute of coming out, an hour after being out, and then the next day, though. I don't think it's common for everyone to be like, unless it's like terrifically bad.
Thing is, though, if it's a really good movie, it should resonate with you, shouldn't it? And you should spend a lot of your time going over it. And, you know, like Arrival haunted me. I don't think this movie's going to haunt me. You know,
No, this was fun. It wasn't. I think I probably have got a slightly different opinion to the two of you, but it was fun.
I think I'll end up doing The Last Jedi with it and watch it again and go, oh yeah, I did really enjoy that.
I think I loved certain points of it, like things that reminded me of the book and some of the action sequences and certain aspects of the actual film and how it was put together were fantastic. However, some bits of it are very Steven Spielberg, as in they're really cheesy.
Yeah,
very hammy bits.
I think I'm kind of on board with you there. I think how it was put together and what it looks like, and as an action film, it was well made.
Do you notice anything about two separate worlds? Right, so when you're in the real world, it's like it's been shot on what's the millimeter film? 35 mil film stock. Would that be? Yeah. So it was all grainy and all the colours were all toned down.
Yeah.
So when you went into the Oasis, it was like boom, colour, crispness. I suppose you might want to see it on the cinema at the cinema to appreciate that. Really.
Yeah, I think things like that, the way it's been put together to give you that.
It's like
jump.
It's like Saving Private Ryan and Attack of the Clones are the same movie.
Yeah. That's a good way of putting it. Yeah, the real world is dystopian and horrible and grey, and then you jump into the Oasis and it's
but there's
bright
also
and colourful.
The other reason I mentioned Attack of the Clones is there's too much going on at times.
Yeah,
You're just like,
definitely.
I can't handle that much CGI.
It's true. There are several shots towards the end there, like when everybody's amassing for the battle, and like there are two perfectly framed shots just full of loads of different characters, and I'm like, who is it? I can't really keep up with it.
The
turtles
bit
and a frog. I mean, a Battletoad, and then it's just like,
I think even the first bit though, at the beginning of the film, when you get your first kind of action-y scene, is just like there's so much going on. It's
what the driving bit at the beginning.
Yeah.
Okay, that
so much going on in that.
It actually made my it gave me goosebumps though. Gave me chills, man.
I just got pulled out straight away.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I felt like, I can't really tell what's going on.
I loved it.
This is fun, but it's just too much. I can't take this in this way. There's too much going on for my brain to be able to really stay in what's going on.
That's why I think it'll be better on a second viewing.
I think it'd be better on Blu-ray at home on a smaller screen where you can kind of focus a bit better.
I think they're little dives into each of the challenges happen way too quickly.
Yeah.
So the way that they're introduced, for instance, the first one is just it's all in
don't
exposition,
say
isn't
anything
it?
about don't say anything about those things yet. We can talk about those.
We won't say anything about the actual
yeah.
challenges, but they're all set up in exposition, and especially the third one that was like really badly like set up in exposition. Like there was just like, oh, by the way, this has happened.
I must have yawned at some point and missed how they delivered the third challenge. I was like, something's not right here with this plot.
Yeah.
What happened?
So
they've
for that
jumped,
reason,
they've
it's
jumped whole
not
sections of the book. If you've read, for anyone listening, if you've read the book, you'll know what we're talking about with a lot of this. If you haven't, and you're just going into the film as a film, then some of what we're talking about right now probably doesn't make any sense. But yeah, with the book, like there's whole sections of things that happen that are, in my eyes, were kind of quite important to why things are happening and why the story's progressing and why it's going in certain directions that are just completely missed.
Are there any other specifics we want to talk about that aren't too spoilery?
I just visually, other than the bits where there's too much going on, I think they did really well with the graphics of characters and pop culture stuff that's in it.
Yeah, they did the best they could do. In some respects, it was almost unfilmable, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
For the amount that's in the story in the book, like, I'm surprised at how well they've done and what they've fit in.
Can we talk about references without being spoilery? Or
Well, there was certain stuff in the trailer, wasn't there? Like the bike from Akira.
Oh, I see. That's, I mean, like specific scenes and things. Perhaps it's too spoilery.
Yeah.
If you're a child of the 80s and 90s, though, there are things in this film that I would expect you to go mad for. There is a certain scene involving a cinema, for instance, that I bloody loved. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
And I think kids of a certain... Well, if you're too young, you're just not going to get that. You're not going to get why...
I'm surprised at the age of some of the kids in there.
I don't think it matters, though, because that was the only criticism I've heard about this movie online, and people going, "Oh, it's just pandering to fans of middle-aged people," and it doesn't at all.
It's pretty broad, isn't it?
Yeah, but it also doesn't matter. It doesn't detract from the story in the slightest. It doesn't add or take away in any way.
No. They've just changed what was in the book as references of mainly being stuff from the 80s and chucked in more modern stuff as well that kids now are going to kind of enjoy some of it for that sort of, I recognise that, as well as older people. But like you say, it doesn't affect the story they've done with it.
So does this make it just really a very good family film then?
No.
You don't think it makes it a good family film?
No.
Why not?
There is no way I would have taken... The kids that were in there when we were there is no way as an adult, if I knew certain scenes that were going to be in that film, I would have taken my kids in there to see that.
12A it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
I would not take... For certain scenes that are in the film, we won't spoil them, but I would not take a child under 10 in.
Are we talking about the cinema
the cinema scene, some of the general violence...
yeah, true.
I personally...
There's some swear words in there as well.
Yeah, there's some blood... Like lot of blood in different scenes.
Yeah,
You know, even though it's a graphical world, it's not just you hit someone and they go. There is blood. You know, you see people bits chunk off, and you know, and then they go.
See, the other side of this argument is that it has to be a good family film because the hammy, cheesy moments that I said about before that are very Steven Spielberg are too immature to make it an adult movie.
Yeah, but that's where this whole thing for me about everything having to be a 12A is a problem.
Right.
And I think this film's fallen into that a little bit of...
I think they've just tried to be very broad with it. You've just got a whole scene, for instance, of stuff that like will only appeal to people over a certain age.
Yeah.
However, all the references, an absolute shit ton of the references are quite juvenile.
Yeah, yeah.
Hello Kitty, for instance, just to chuck out a couple of examples without being spoilery. Hello Kitty's in there. Little kids will go, oh, definitely recognise that. But at the same time, when a certain character has his arm chopped off and all his stuff comes out, you get Perseus's shield from Clash of the Titans.
Yeah.
In amongst it. And there's no way.
But those references are fine, but with the violence and that particular scene... Like in the cinema, like it just doesn't. It's not a family film. I would
have been happy taking my 12-year-old kid to see it. That's the thing.
Yes, you would.
Yeah, I think
12-year-old. Yeah, 12-year-old. Anything under that, I think you're getting the further from 12 years old.
Yeah, but that's the whole point of the 12A rating.
Yeah,
it's a parental decision. Whether
but
kid
you know
can
how
watch it or
stupid people are. It's
it's
been raining today, so what have everyone done? Because it's a school holiday. Brought 7-year-olds in to watch it. I would not be comfortable taking my 7-year-old to see that.
It's not the stuff of nightmares, though.
For some kids, it might be.
Oh, there are a couple of bits thinking about it.
Exactly.
Yeah, bits involving zombies and stuff. Like, okay.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's certain stuff in that, like that I'd be like, you're 7, you're not watching that. Sorry, wait until you're 12. That
wait
to me
until
is...
Ready Player 2 comes out.
Yeah. And then you'll be old enough to watch the first one, and the second one will probably be far worse because the BBFC have changed the marker points of what's okay in a 12.
Ernest Cline wants to crack on and get it written before they write it for him, don't they?
Well,
Doesn't he, really?
Yeah.
To be fair.
I don't think he will
Hurry
write
up, mate,
another one,
before
though.
Hollywood sorts it. Well, he's talking about it.
Yeah.
So it's on the way, apparently. But, whether or not he'll George R.R. Martin it, I don't know.
The only thing I wanted to say, one thing, the music is not as... The soundtrack is not as good as the trailers.
No.
The music in the trailers is better than the music in the movies.
It's the same composer that did.
I'm talking about the songs.
Okay,
yeah, the actual.
Okay.
Like you got like Aha and Rush and stuff like that in the trailers, and then there was like none of that, was there?
And it opened with Van Helden's Jump, didn't it?
Yeah.
Which is all right.
Yeah, they went for the all right songs in the film and used all the best songs they'd paid for the licenses for in the trailer. I don't know why they didn't. Why it wasn't the other way round?
Yeah,
because that's what they did with Guardians of the Galaxy. The first one, the songs in the trailer were good songs, but they weren't the best songs in the film.
Right.
Like the songs in the film were actually better. You know,
the soundtrack, was it to? I can't remember the name of the composer. The guy that did the soundtrack for Back to the Future. It's him, isn't it?
Is it Alan Silvestri?
Is that him? Is that the guy that did Back to the Future?
I can't remember the name.
We'll have to Google it. We should Google it.
There was interesting bits where the music kind of changed to fit the theme of one of the characters on screen. During the film, there were certain bits where the background score music changed to fit with different characters. So, like, I try to think of one that's in the trailer. What were some of the big characters that were in the trailer that we saw?
The Iron Giant?
Yeah. So, like, for instance, when the Iron Giant's on screen, like, for the first time doing its thing, the music changes, in the score music changes in a way to reflect the sound of the music from that film. And it did it all the way through. I noticed that in
like
different
the Back
places.
to the Future music creeps in a few times.
Yeah,
Back
to the Future,
a heck of a lot, which is
Jurassic
why I say...
Park.
I think... I don't know
Star
if
Wars.
I was just imagining it, but towards the end, when they're in the truck at the end, and it's literally the end of the movie, I think there's almost like a play on the "We Found the Grail" music from Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
You know, it's specifically the Last Crusade has got its own original score. There's a bit of the score that's specific to that movie. Like,
well, I think this person's done. They've specifically picked sounds and a score that sounds like those and gets really close without obviously...
Back to the Future one was the most used, though.
Yeah,
literally all over the place. And like every time a character had a revelation, it was like the diddly-doo. From Back to the Future.
Which is fair enough.
Yeah,
you know,
fine.
It works for the reference, and if you don't know the reference, it's a good enough sound that it fits.
I suppose those references are there in the score as well. So
Yeah.
that's something to listen out for. Overall, what do we think?
I think it's good.
I thought it was a fun action film. I probably wouldn't have paid to go and see it on a normal day where it wasn't a cheap day. And
No?
I probably wouldn't watch it again.
I really enjoyed it. I'd like other people to see it. I think on a second watching, I'm going to be annoyed by those little bits of exposition and the fact that they haven't filled out the story enough. In honesty, though, it could quite easily have been a 3-hour movie if they'd stuck everything in it that I'd like to see in it. But
it could have quite easily been a trilogy, each challenge being a different part.
Maybe
or the first film.
That's going a bit too Jackson, though, isn't it?
Yeah. But do you know what I mean? Like, there's enough in that story in the book form for you to kind of push it that bit further. I didn't feel like there was enough of the story in the film.
I'm actually all for remembering that the book is the book and the film is the film and the TV show is the TV show, that different formats deserve different amounts of time for the viewer. So 2 hours, 2.5 hours is plenty for Ready Player One. Unfortunately, they chose to just brisk over a couple of things that kind of peed me off. So other than that, though, apart from the hammy bits, I think it was very, very good. I loved everything in the Oasis. I like the
look of the Oasis.
Yeah, I love the different feel in the real world to the Oasis because of the way it was, well, literally the way it was presented. And yeah, overall, I'm going to give it a percentage. I think I reckon I'll give it about a 7 out of 10, something like that. That's probably that's pretty fair.
I'm probably more going 4.
Really?
Yeah.
Out of 10?
Yeah.
I see. I'd give it 4 out of 5.
Right.
Interesting.
That's 8 out of 10. So yeah, we're pretty close. So,
shall we move on to spoilers?
Okay. So,
if you're listening, a warning, spoilers,
actual
spoilers.
Warning. Last chance. Bugger off. Go on.
Go away.
Go on. Go to the cinema. Go and
Darth
watch it.
Vader is Luke Skywalker's dad. Kevin Spacey is Kaiser Soze. If you need any more of these references, stop listening now. E.T. does come back to life and phone home.
Right. Spoilers.
Spoilers.
Yeah. How do you want to start with spoilers?
Oh, how different is it from the book, man? Whoa.
It is quite different to the book, isn't it?
Very different, yeah.
So...
But cleverly different.
Yeah.
In some ways.
You can't make a movie about fairly average 80s movies and very terrible Atari 2600 video games.
True.
That to me is not the issue, though. It's the plot points that they just completely missed out to get the movie just action-packed, moving along to the next thing they wanted to show on screen. They missed out plot points, like you were saying with one of the challenges, like the third challenge.
Yeah.
Like... It's just not even explained. Like
it
just
is.
Well, no, but it's sort of suddenly
delivered in one
happening.
line by the black girl, whoever. Is she the girl from Ghostbusters?
No.
She looks like her. Maybe a younger version.
She's a very good comedian, though. I've seen her in other films and bits and bobs. But
the one from Ready Player One, or
the one from Ready Player One,
right? Yeah.
But no, like, yeah, it's one line though. It's like, oh, the Sixers have found.
But they did
their
it
way into...
with the second challenge as well, when they worked out the clue.
Yeah, but you actually...
shit, I've worked it out.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
you had them sat with some paper, like writing notes down and chatting about it, and then they went outside, and then they held hands, and then there was almost a kiss, and then she worked it out, and they'd already been to the museum place and all the other stuff, you know? So it was like leading up to it, whereas with the third challenge, it was just like, boom, oh, look, they're doing that,
So
we better go and stop them.
It felt like... Those problems felt like they were problems that occurred in the editing room rather than they were problems with the script.
They
probably just cut stuff out.
There's definitely lots of stuff on the cutting room floor, and there's a massive clue to that right at the end. Did you guys pick up on that at all?
No.
There's an editing problem there. So right at the end, the guy that plays, what's his name, Ogden, is Halliday's partner.
Simon Pegg.
Simon Pegg's character.
For
Goes up
anyone
to
that
them and
didn't realise
says,
he was in it, I was actually quite surprised by that because I didn't realise.
Walks up to them, and I didn't realise he was going to be in it either. Walks up to them and says, "You guys must be the High Five."
Yeah.
And that's not mentioned at
Yeah,
any
it does
point.
get mentioned one time before that, but there's no...
No, there's just banners saying high five at the end scene as if like we should
Does it
know
get
that
mentioned?
No, Percival says we are the High Five. It does get... It gets mentioned, I would say, including at least 3 times, but there's no explanation.
No.
There's no solid...
No.
These guys are known from now on as the High Five.
Like obviously they are the top 5 on the scoreboard, so it makes sense, but...
And by the end of the book, it should be the High Four.
Yeah.
But
but like it's just not
Spoiler alert
it's not
for the book
explained
as well.
properly, is it? It just sort of happens that they mention
There's
it.
not enough...
No.
Compared to the book, there's not enough emphasis put on the scoreboard.
No.
True. And that's a good point. He's alone for a lot of the book.
Yeah.
As in, he doesn't meet any of these other characters at all.
Even
until...
his family in the book they're just living in the Oasis so much that he doesn't really interact with them.
Right.
And in this, they're
we know that they're violent and nasty and just generally horrible people.
Yeah, but they're just in the Oasis. They never really interact with him in the book. Very rarely is there an interaction. Not like in the film. They've pushed that more to give it more... And I see why, you know, for the film version, to get across the shitty life he's living, it makes sense.
There was a problem there as well, actually, where the father told him never to touch... Oh, no, the mother told him never to touch his gloves again, her gloves again. And in the very next scene, he's in the Oasis wearing her gloves. But yeah, anyway. Yeah. Nitpicking that.
There's a major flaw in the first scene of the film.
Go on.
In the race. He gets to the bit with Godzilla, and he's King Kong, sorry, and he's already slid under a truck by turning the wheels sideways on the DeLorean into hover mode. Why don't you just fly over?
Who knows?
And then later on, there's another bit with the vehicle, and like they're driving for a battlefield. Like, why are you driving?
Just fly.
You've got a hover car.
Got a flying car,
you've
man.
actually got a hover car. We've seen you use it in hover mode earlier.
That's
There's
a plot.
no reason.
But people do silly things in video games all the time. Just play Grand Theft Auto for any length of time, and you just be like, you don't go, I definitely need to be flying now. You just go,
no. But if you're in a situation on that battlefield where you've got to go over the top of everything, so you don't get damaged and stuff, you'd hover.
Yeah, but
use your hover vehicle.
This is pernickety fucking internet bullshit we're delving into now.
Yeah, this is true.
Well, no, but that's a plot that affects the plot of the race at the beginning. The fact that he just uses the hover mode,
it doesn't.
And then at the end,
of the race at the beginning.
No, because
you let it bother you.
Yeah,
no, because if he's done it once, no, that's what I mean. Like if he'd have not hovered at all, it wouldn't have bothered me. But because he hovered under the truck halfway through the race. Why did he then not use it at the end?
Maybe the car can't fly in the Oasis. Anyway, we're not spending 5 minutes talking about this.
No, but it just annoyed me straight away that he'd hovered once in the race and then didn't at the end.
Fine.
Like, it just didn't... There was no explanation of why, and he could have won the race easily then, and that would have changed the beginning of the film.
Fair enough. Other differences with characters?
I just think... I just want to say about the story, I think they've done a really good job of making it work.
Yeah.
Because actually, the book's not boring at all. The book's fucking brilliant, but
only for people of a certain age, maybe.
If you try and film that book, even as a TV series, you'd be like, oh, what the fuck is this boring shit?
If we try and do it all, it's going to take forever.
Because it is literally... all the challenges are based around either really old shit video games or
old movies, like going over the scripts of films and stuff.
Brilliant, aren't they? Like War Games is fun, but it's not.
Yeah, but that's fine to change the references and stuff and put more modern ones in so it makes more sense for a film or a TV show. I totally think that they needed to do that.
Yeah. Well, no, they rip it all up and start again with regard to the challenges. Then
that's true.
They don't share any similarity in this.
Well, there is the similarity.
Before we go on to the challenges, iRock.
Yeah.
Wasn't he just like a douchebag, one of their mates, like in the book?
He was still a dick and ended up working for the Sixers, I think.
He did.
Yeah.
On the Sixers, it doesn't really properly explain why they're called the Sixers.
No, again, that's been probably...
well, their version of it was
narrated dialogue
that
didn't make the cut.
He says because of the numbers. That's all he said.
Yeah, and they're all their numbers.
But it's six numbers all beginning with 6, isn't it? So
yeah.
I think it's just because in that they've all got 6 numbers on their front. I don't think they necessarily all started with 6 in this.
Right. Fair enough.
I think they just went with a simpler explanation. So, and he said it in one line, like most of the main plot points in this were said in one line.
And what's Halliday's alter ego in there?
The Wizard Oz or something? No.
The Wizard something, the Grey.
No. Fucking hell.
Gandalf.
I can't remember. I honestly can't remember what he is in the movie version.
I was quite disappointed he didn't turn up and break up the fight in the nightclub. Honestly,
yeah.
But
no, that's not him that does it. That's Simon Pegg's character.
Yeah.
Oh, is it?
That's Og.
There you go.
And I think he's called the Great Og, isn't he?
Yeah.
Because he's the good thing with that party is it's his party he throws once a year, isn't it?
Right, yeah.
And he DJs.
Okay. Yeah, rings a bell.
But like things like that, you can kind of understand why they drop things like that to kind of put other elements in to make the story make more sense for a film version. But there's weird little things.
I did like that little MacGuffin that they used there, though. The Zemeckis cube.
Yeah. Rubik's Cube.
Fun, yeah. Called Zemeckis because
Back to the Future.
Robert Zemeckis directed Back to the Future.
Yeah.
Right, yes. So challenges.
Yeah, so the third challenge, I know, sorry to jump straight to it, but the third challenge has more in common with the first in the book.
What's that? So the joust in the book?
Yeah, so it's joust in the book.
I think it's the same third challenge as well.
Is it?
Yeah, I think you have to do that. I think he does that in the book. I'm fairly sure he does.
Oh, I've got them in the wrong order then. I kept getting confused.
No, it's just lots of video games ones.
Yeah.
No, that's...
So, first challenge in the book is joust, right? So how does he get to it? There's something to do with the Breakfast Club, isn't it?
No, it's hidden in the. It's hidden on his school planet, isn't it? He gets into a cave. It's from Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
And then he jousts against a what do they call him? A lich.
A lich.
Yeah.
That's some sort of a beastie thing anyway, isn't it? So he has to play joust again. And there's no way they could have filmed that because joust is such a weird bloody game. It's like 2 people sat on the back of ostriches running around a screen trying to knock each other out, basically, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I noticed there's a poster, though, right at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
For joust, as a little nod.
Also, with regards to the way the challenges were sort of... the way they were put together and how different they were also kind of makes me... I've got no problem with them changing it and updating it because you need to do that.
Yeah.
But the lack of, like Ross said, the lack of the scoreboard being involved as each challenge progressed, and then the jumps in the story of kind of missing it out was a bit
takes away from the tension.
Yeah,
a little bit.
It honestly, at certain points, pulled me out of the film.
Right.
Certain things where it just jumped to the next thing, and you were like, "Oh, okay, that's a bit odd. That's not really been explained."
We don't get any exposition to cover that.
No,
but other things,
and
a little bit too much.
His inner voice narration at the beginning that then just, sort of ceases. And then somehow, at certain points in the film, kind of comes back.
Yeah, that's quite common in movies, though.
Yeah, but normally in a lot of films, they'll do some at the beginning and then maybe some at the end, and they'll leave it during the middle. His was kind of intermittent in random ways. Like there would be a bit of narration, but then he'd suddenly speak to someone else in the game world.
Happens quite badly in A Handmaid's Tale, for instance. First episode, she's got loads of narration going on.
Okay.
And it disappears. I prefer it without. I don't think there's ever any need for a voiceover.
I don't know. I think at the beginning of a film, sometimes it makes sense just for the explanation of what the Oasis is. That would make sense. But yeah, the weird jumps back to narration at different points were quite odd.
The best thing in movies is to never have a voiceover and never have a flashback.
Depends,
because both can be appalling. But there you go. Anyway, that's just my opinion. Anything else about the challenges?
Yeah, well, we haven't talked about the second one, which is just a massive homage to The Shining.
Yeah.
And it feels like you're in the Haunted Mansion in Disneyland as well.
Yeah, and the zombie graphics and the blood.
Yep.
That's why
That's what we were talking about earlier on about it being a bit nasty for kids.
Yeah.
And the bit where Artemis has dressed up as is it Goro from Mortal Kombat?
Yeah.
But then she chest busts herself and it's a puppet.
Yeah.
That's fucking
with
brilliant.
a little alien busts out, yeah.
And then cuts up through the front of Goro's chest and face to get the costume off using the alien prosthetic. And there's a lot of blood when she's doing it.
And she tells him that he can't go out in public. But she's at that point got to be just she's got to be just as famous because he recognises her from all of her videos and stuff. So again, nitpicking. But yeah, the Shining section, that's nothing to do with anything that's in the book. But what a brilliant inclusion.
Yeah, like the moment that they walk down the stairs into the main open area of the hotel. Yeah. I was just like, wow.
And it all went into the grainy 35mm kind of shot again. And it was just like,
it was impressive how
did you
well
notice
they
what the
did
cinema was called?
The Outlook.
Overlook, yeah. Because the hotel's called the Overlook
okay.
in Shining. And the two little girls, everything, the carpet.
Yeah.
The orc guy, what's his friend's name? H. Says, you got no business going to room 237, which is a line directly from The Shining. Really, really love that bit of it.
Yeah.
It's the horrible hackling cackle lady, the thing from Evil Dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They mix like 4 or 5 horror films.
Horrible cackling lady?
The one that was in
from the bathtub?
From the bathtub.
She's in The Shining.
Yeah, but the actual zombie version
with
the cackling is the woman under the flap in Evil Dead.
Do you think?
Yeah.
Or any other crone.
Any other crone.
They basically, they've mixed a few things. After that zombie point where it changes from The Shining to being something completely different, there's a few different things in there that are from other horror films.
Wow.
Like even the dancing ghosts, like zombies, look like
they said that there's nothing to do with
They look
the
like
Shining.
the dancing ghosts from that awful film about the pirate ship that's a ghost ship that came out years ago.
Ghost ship?
Possibly. It might be called that, I don't know. But it was an awful film, but it had like a really good scene with dancing ghosts that looked zombified.
Right.
And like it looks very similar, like the way they did it. So there's lots of little, that's what I mean. There's loads and loads of little things for all different ages of nods to different stuff. And you may not have seen that film, but someone else may have.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of references that are probably lost on me from different things as well.
Fair dinks. And then the third challenge, Halliday's Castle, that wasn't really all... it wasn't covered very well, was it? In the books, they've all got mechs after they've completed the second challenge, did we say?
I think it's the second challenge, yeah. They all get a mech, so when they go to do the third challenge and the Sixers put the shield up...
So our main dude has got... Leopardon, which is Spider-Man's old, mech from the original TV show, I think, from like the 60s or something in Japan.
Yeah.
It was nice that Mechagodzilla's still in there.
Yeah.
That's cool. And, Ultraman. That's the one we said about earlier on.
Yeah, Ultraman's not used in that final fight. Ultraman is last time I think he gets given to Parzival, doesn't he?
Yeah, yeah.
But because he dies he stays in that
form for too long.
He stays in Ultraman's form too long because he's getting thrown out of a window in real life.
Yeah.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that, like, obviously Ultraman, they may have gone with something else because the majority of Western audiences aren't going to know Ultraman, but they're going to know a Gundam.
Well, maybe.
But I still think Ultraman was probably more iconic for a lot of Westerners as well as people in China and Japan.
I don't think a 10-year-old kid's going to know the difference.
It's all licensing. All these decisions are made on licensing level.
Fair enough.
That's what I imagine.
There's so much Star Wars shit that could have been in
choice.
there, and it's just not because
I heard the sound of a TIE fighter. I did look out for it at a certain point when they were queuing up to get into the club. But
bit of Star Wars music in there as well when they were going near the club.
Right. But I couldn't spot a Star Wars vehicle.
No.
I suppose the other thing to talk about is the plot changes. It was more plot changes. Parzival doesn't get captured by IO, or doesn't deliberately get himself captured by IOI.
Yeah.
So she goes in instead.
The girl goes in instead, and she is captured, but then she gets... Yeah, that's a good thing, because they don't rescue her, do they?
No.
They do.
They do quite a handy little, breakout.
They give her help, but they don't actually go in and help
the
her,
clever little inception they do as well.
Yeah.
That's
like
good
that.
as well.
Yeah, those changes are fine.
That's literally stolen. That is stolen from Inception, isn't it?
Which is stolen from a Donald Duck comic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Induction. We've done that joke before. Yeah.
Yeah. I always bring that up if someone says Inception because it's a stolen idea already. So someone stealing it from Inception is like stealing it from Donald Duck, which is Inception in itself. Stealing it from one that's stealing it from another that's stealing it from another. It's like going into their dreams.
Anyway, what were we saying? Oh, yeah. Heist bit in the middle. Her going in there and story changes.
Her having a whole gang of people that she...
Yeah, the revolution.
With. Yeah. Both of them being pretty attractive people rather than very average-looking people, I think.
Yeah.
Was... that's Hollywood for you. They're not going to use a slightly fatter woman with a big birthmark.
In the book, she refuses to meet up with him in real life because of the birthmark, right? And
she's a bit chunkier and he's a bit chunkier, but when they finally meet and he's lost weight from being stuck at working for the Sixers and stuff. Like,
is that when he gains all the weight, is it? When he's working at IOI?
No, he loses it when he's there.
Right.
He's big before and he loses it all there. And then they meet and in the real world and they still connect and fall in love. And I kind of... That I know it's nitpicking, but like that to me was the whole point of the story.
It's a major plot point. Yeah,
like
that's fair enough.
Them two meeting in real life and loving each other is kind of what Halliday wanted from the people doing the challenge to and eventually find someone that would go, yeah, the Oasis is cool, but life is more than that in the book, and I don't feel they quite got that the same in this. But
and the very end, if I'm not mistaken, in the book, they all have to have the thing is. The clue, the final solution is that the three of them have to have keys, right?
Yeah.
And they've all got to be there to turn the lock at the same time.
Yeah.
So that was missed. Something that I did quite like, actually, is earlier on, when they first met, his hair was doing the floaty in the water type thing.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, that's going to really piss me off. If it stays like that through the film, that's just really off-putting. And she went up to him and sorted it out.
Yeah.
And I thought, hey, thank you very much. Off we go.
Yeah. Yeah, that made a huge difference.
Well, probably not to many people, but I like that bit. There were lots and lots of little nods and winks and little things that had me laughing through the film. Actually, found it very entertaining.
Why I say it's like a fun action film.
They used their one fuck really well as well, didn't they?
Where was that?
Yeah,
you get on a 12A. You get one fuck, don't you?
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Chucky, that was very good.
But that's the thing, like, again, Chucky
as a weapon,
like with a knife, like quite close to the camera, throwing a knife at you, being Chucky for like 5 or 6 seconds is quite a full-on thing to show
I think
to under
that's
12s.
scarier for you than it is for like a 7-year-old at this point, because
I don't know.
Chucky movies were scary in the 80s.
Yeah, but I'm not scared of the Chucky movies, but I'm thinking from the point of view of being a kid, and a doll with a massive girt knife blading at your face is probably a lot scarier than I thought Chucky was.
Another thing that I picked up on, it's semantics, but like, for instance, when Mechagodzilla falls over and takes out a load of Sixers, all in the war room, the pattern of people that are taken out is the same as
Godzilla,
it's the same as the people on the field. Yeah. So within the Oasis, so that doesn't make sense, because they'd have just jumped in any pod and they'll have been scattered across the battlefield.
So I think that's just for humour, isn't it? That it's the shape of Godzilla,
or just a visual.
Yeah, just a visual gag. If you're going to notice it, you're going to notice it. Most people won't. But
it wasn't really the shape of Godzilla. I didn't think it was humorous. I think it was just they were all shown to be in the same positions they were in.
It was definitely the shape of Godzilla.
Anywho,
Ben Mendelsohn's really good in it as well, isn't he?
Ben Mendelsohn is the guy that was in
Nolan.
Nolan.
He's Nolan Sorrento.
Yeah.
He's the bad guy.
Yeah. He was in Rogue One.
Of course. He was all right.
Yeah.
He was only all right.
He was a hateable arsehole.
I think his character was his what's the word? Was his avatar supposed to be Superman?
He's kind of like a horrible, hench, evil Clark Kent, isn't he?
Yeah. I think it's like an over-the-top steroided version of himself that's got that kind of Clark Kent look about him.
He had the curl and everything.
Yeah.
I thought at some point he's going to break that suit open.
He's going to be Superman.
He's going to be flying.
Yeah.
I thought it'd be like Red Sun Superman or something.
Yeah, but no.
Unfortunately not.
No.
Perhaps they went with that idea and didn't quite get the licensing in time.
Quite possibly.
Who's the comedian that plays iRock? He's funny as well.
Jason.
He's in Silicon Valley, isn't he?
That's the guy from Deadpool, the one that.
Yeah, he's the guy from Deadpool.
Yeah, they're trying to get him kicked out of movies and stuff, but somehow
Tim
Miller.
Why are they
Tim
trying to
Miller.
get him
I thought
kicked
it was
out of movies?
Because he was a bit of a dickhead, dickhead at university.
Yeah.
And there are some.
I didn't think it was him.
Sort of things being said about him. So,
I thought it was Jason. What's his name from Mallrats and stuff?
No, it's not. It's the guy from.
Definitely Tim Miller.
Oh wow. Okay, his voice sounded wrong to me.
I love that character though. In this.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, he was all right. He was funny. He was kind of just a.
He had lots of good jokes.
Plot distraction in certain places, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He was just built to be funny and then be useful.
Yeah,
it wasn't necessarily needed as such. They could have done it many other ways, but he was all right.
They could have used any avatar, but they made one up as well.
Yeah, but it's made up in the way that he's a bit the guy from what's the movie where you get your heads cut off?
Highlander.
He's a bit like the guy from Highlander. He's a bit
Kurgan.
He's a bit Skeletor,
isn't he? He's a bit the guy from Fury Road.
Yeah.
That's what I like about him.
Yeah, it's kind of mishmash of There was a few characters in there that were a bit mishmash, and I also liked the little, like the blatant Minecraft advert in the middle of the film was just disgusting.
It's not in the middle; it's right at the start, isn't it?
Yeah, like just
they could have gone a bit more Robocop.
Minecraft world. They didn't just and then all the other worlds they showed and all the other games weren't like known games or known worlds. It was only Minecraft. Like Microsoft obviously paid to have that put in there because it was like. Minecraft world, and then it was like gliding through a hurricane game, like battling on a Doom field, like, and none of the other stuff were real. That was the only one that was like blatantly like this is an advert.
They could have gone a bit more Robocop with it, I thought. There were a couple of places where there were adverts, and I thought, there's going to be commercials through this for different things.
Yeah.
But it didn't happen.
But they don't allow commercials, do they?
Suit and stuff.
That's the thing. That's why I thought the Minecraft thing was so rude, because in the book they say about no commercials in the Oasis. And then later on he makes the comment about, we can always, 80% of their visuals.
Before people start having seizures.
Yeah. And I just thought, wow, you've already done a Minecraft advert, so you're not doing very well at the no advertising, are you?
There you go. Is there anything else we want to say about it?
I loved the Mortal Kombat and Medway symbols on the visors
and stuff.
That was beautiful. I really, really
enjoyed that.
It's only
because you're hard for Mortal Kombat.
And Medway, like just like the fact that they've used old named like companies on certain stuff. You know, even though it's like got all the modern stuff in there as well.
Yeah.
They had some of the old school stuff in there on, like, blatantly shown on screen that, you know, it's going to be enjoyable for people that know what it is.
I didn't find the real world quite depressing enough.
No.
No?
No.
It was too happy and shiny when they went out of the stacks.
It's because it was too busy being E.T., wasn't it?
Yeah.
Do you think?
Yeah.
I suppose
It was too busy
Yeah.
being scenes from E.T. and Indiana Jones 5. 4. The one that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Lots of
driving
running around in vehicles
yeah.
and probably not getting shot when you should have been.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I don't like E.T.
I just don't like cheese.
There was quite a lot of cheese in there. Like, there was a couple of bits that were cheesy in a way that was kind of fitting, and you kind of go, yeah, okay. And then there was bits where I just again felt like I was being pulled out of the movie and slapped with something not that good.
You know what? We've said all of this, but we haven't covered the most important thing.
Go on.
Now, on our podcast, we do this thing where we've got a list of people that have done great things in our world.
Oh, yeah.
And because of those achievements, we put their heads in a jar, like in, what's the...
Futurama.
Futurama, yes.
But better than that, because we just don't let everybody have a head.
Exactly, we're quite selective. So who have we got so far?
David Attenborough.
Yeah.
John Williams.
James Cameron.
James Cameron. There's one more.
Stephen Hawking.
Stephen Hawking. Is that it?
Yeah, that is it.
So the discussion was, do we put Steven Spielberg in a jar? Or at least his head? And, yeah, I suppose we need to discuss whether or not we do.
I don't think he's ready to go in a jar.
No, I don't think that film makes him deserve it.
The idea was we were going to wait.
He's made enough films he's made enough films that warrant being put in a jar, but he's not ready for the jar, is he?
So this was the crux of the argument, wasn't it? This was the deciding factor. If this was really good, he was definitely going in a jar.
Yeah, I don't. He's done some great films. He's also done some utter shit.
So Steven Spielberg doesn't get a jar this week.
I don't think so yet.
No, I just don't think he's old enough to warrant needing the jar.
I don't think it's about age, though, is it?
Well,
necessarily,
it is, because it's like...
It's preserving before they kick the bucket,
David Attenborough's still alive. Like,
only just, mate.
Yeah. James Cameron.
Yeah, James Cameron's not very old, is he?
Not very old.
No.
But he's in a jar because he's very rarely done anything negative.
No, Steven Spielberg goes in a jar.
I don't think so.
Because he could always... Having Steven Spielberg in the jar, it always means there's a chance that you'll get a film as good as Schindler's List or Saving Private Ryan.
And we've just got a pretty solid
Park,
7 out of 10.
Or the Indiana Jones movies.
Yeah, but then you look back at, like, the last Indiana Jones movie, then you've got, like, that other sci-fi E.T. type thing that he did a little while ago that wasn't very good.
Yeah, but
like,
he's done all the other things like
no, but that's what I mean.
Report.
Recently, like, if you go back to when he did his last really, really good one, like, there's been a lot of average to not so good films by him in a while, and that's why we were saying this one needs to be amazing for
You know what? I secretly love War of the Worlds.
Oh. I've watched it the other day, weirdly enough. Yeah. Just sort of half watched it. I didn't even watch the end.
First time they meet IROC, there was a War of the Worlds reference. Did you notice that?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
The thing
yeah, the old original one, yeah.
Hanging over the top, yeah. Yeah. Anywho, so...
Steven Spielberg,
head in a jar.
2 against 1.
Well done, Steve. You're in the jar.
Adam, put him on the list.
I've put him on the list. He's in there.
Right. Do we need to say anything else about this movie or Steven Spielberg, or can we go and have dinner?
No, go and watch it.
I think everybody should go and watch it.
I'd say if you're interested in a good, fun action film, even though I didn't like it as much as these guys, even I would say if you want something fun and actiony that's computer game and nerd related, this is worth a watch.
It will be interesting to see how much money it makes.
4 out of 10 and say that, though.
Why?
Because 4 out of 10 is not a good film, is it?
No, 4 out of 10 is like...
It's not. It's below average. So that's not...
Yeah.
That you can't say, go to the cinema and watch this film, but it's only a 4 out of 10.
Yeah, you can.
You can't.
No, 3 below is like... 3 is like, I wouldn't go to the cinema. 2 is... I wouldn't recommend it at all. 1
I would
is,
be unhappy
this is awful.
with anything below a 5.
That's why you just score movies out of 5. You go 1's shit, 2's bad, 3's if you're a fan of the genre, you'll really enjoy it. Everyone else will just think it's okay. 4's good and 5's a masterpiece.
Yeah, but there's so many other points in between.
There's not.
There is.
It doesn't.
There is.
Right, look, it'll be interesting.
I've got some point genre. It's like when I fucking hate it. The PC gamers score games out of 100. What's the fucking point?
Yeah, but that's that. Normally, when a PC game is scored out of 100, there's normally categories that are 10 points for each category, so they add the points up at the end to give you an average.
This is also true.
So I understand that.
Yeah.
That's why I would prefer to rate films out of 50, but no one else wants to do that. So.
It will be interesting to see whether or not this movie makes $1 billion or gets close to.
Yeah.
If it does the Jumanji thing and sits in the cinema for 10 weeks.
Yeah.
It could happen.
It hasn't got The Rock in it, but it's got iRock.
It's got... Yeah, this is true. It's got some stiff competition on the way, though.
Yes.
We'll talk about that more on our main podcast next week, perhaps. For now, though, honourable mentions for Libsyn and Stitcher.
Yep.
Who appeared, I noticed, in the final battle of Ready Player One.
Over and over again in different forms.
Absolutely. Because they is masters of... Oh, that was one of them. He-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was in one of those shots that I spoke about earlier
Was
on.
he? See, I didn't see any of them. I saw less than I saw in the trailer.
Really?
Yeah.
There's no point trying to spot them all, was there?
No.
You just need to sit there with a notepad.
It was also a very dark
watching it
scene,
in slow-mo.
so it's quite difficult.
But yeah,
some of them are just made to...
Oh, yeah, but
like
that's probably fucking Cineworld, mate, with their contrast and brightness.
Look, we're still prattling on about this.
Yeah.
Let's
if
go.
you want to have a listen to anything or have a look at anything that we do outside of the podcast, please go and find some links on our Facebook page. That'd be amazing.
Woo-woo.
Me and Adam have both got stuff going on in Cows this Thursday. Adam's got a Cow Speak.
I have indeed.
And I've got an open mic night. So go and have a look at the Rock the Cows Bar's Facebook page and you'll find all the info there.
Or go to the cinema and watch Ready Player One.
Or both. Can you do both? Yeah, of course you can. You can get a matinee screening like we just did.
Yes.
There we go. Right. We'll see you next week, guys and girls.
See you later.
Good bargain.
Thanks for listening. Bye.